Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. So that's WWE SmackDown and AEW Rampage. Sorry again, no collision. I did not take notes on it. I did watch, though. But, was that very entertaining show, but we're going to start off with WWE SmackDown, where of course we got a Crown Jewel recap from the Bloodline match. But we start off with a promo from Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns. Before they can get the mic up, out comes Jey Uso, comes to the ring, picks up a microphone and says, "There's obviously a lot of misunderstanding out here. All I want you to do is hear him out." Who is him? Of course, it's Sami Zayn. He comes out, grabs a microphone, he says, "Look, I just wanted to address Crown Jewel. That kick to Roman Reigns was not on purpose, and the only reason I was there was because of Jey. It's been a long time since we shared the ring, and when we did at Crown Jewel, for a minute, it felt special. And the time I felt with this family felt like the best time in the world. And there's been a lot between us lately, but I still have a soft spot for the Bloodline. And we're all standing here now, and we're on the same level. If you want this back..." So people think the opposite of love is hate. It's indifference. And Roman, I think you love me. And then it felt like he went off script. He pointed at Roman saying, "See, you're smirking." Which, I'll talk about that in a minute. Sami continues, "You remember the old days with us. We could be back together again, but I'm going to put the ball in your court, Roman. I'll leave you alone if you want, but I don't think that's what you want. You want us on the safe side. I just need you to do one thing for me. Apologize." So Roman picks up his mic. He says, "Let me get this straight. You want me to apologize to you?" Sami replies, "No, I want you to apologize to Jey." Which, that's very interesting, my man. So Roman picks up the microphone, says, "I'm sorry that I let you waste our time. He's not family, and tonight it's not about him. It's about Solo. Get your ass out here so you can get an ass kicking." So Sami looks a little dejected. He leaves the ring. Coming up on the Titantron is Jacob Fatu, which is very, very interesting. I'm glad he's getting a little time. And he says, Roman, your years as time as chief are done. Solo is the chief now, and Solo will come out on his own time, and you will acknowledge that. So, here's what I got from that promo. One, obviously the Bloodline need a little time to work stuff out. Two, we're definitely building to Sami joining in and evening the odds. We'll get to that a little bit later, though. But I'm going to say this. The best time I've had with the Bloodline storyline is when Sami Zayn was in there and he was like making people laugh and smirk. The whole thing of, I think it was Jimmy not feeling very oozy. That, and then everyone cracking up. I will always remember moments like that. Those were great. And now we're getting the band back together. I'm in. Let's do it. And then I am also super happy Jacob's getting some mic time. He is an underrated talker. Like, super underrated. So, next up, we got an announcement for the Elimination Chamber. Going to be happening in Toronto again this year. So, that should be a fun one. Then, we see Roman and Jimmy. They're walking backstage. Jay walks in. He says, I just wanted you to do this one thing for me. Roman turns to him and says, why do you care? He means nothing to us. And then Jace replies, I told you, if you talk to me like that, I'm out. So Jay leaves. Jimmy pipes up and says, why did you talk to him like that? Roman then turns to Jimmy and says, you two? Why don't you go find your brother? And Jimmy leaves. So, all is not right in the OG bloodline for now. We'll see where it goes. We then get, finally, our first matchup of the evening, as it's Bayley taking on Candice LeRae. We've definitely seen this match a couple times, but these two have some really good chemistry together. Like, they know exactly what they're doing. It was a really, really good back and forth. At one point, you see Bayley hit her big old elbow drop. Candice LeRae rolls to the outside. She looks like she's hurt. She's like grabbing her knee. And the ref starts Bayley from an attack. Checks on Candice for a minute. Candice then gets up, roll up, only for two. Then Bayley counters with her own roll-up to pick up the victory. So, I do wish there was a little bit more of a decided winner other than the surprise roll-up. But I'm okay with this. Like, I do hope we get to see Candice get pushed a little more. But, they're trying to build Bayley back up to face Nia eventually. And we go backstage. We see the Motor City Machine Guns. They're working out. They got the stretchy weight things. I don't even know what to call them. Then Johnny Gargano walks in. And if you know the history of Gargano, he was trained by Alex Shelley. So that's a very cool connection. I like that. So Gargano says, it's great that you're here. It was fun to get in the ring with you guys. Chris Sabin then says, it was fun to work with DIY. We should do it again more often. Then in come the Guns leave. Gargano stays. Tommaso Ciampa walks in. He's honestly really pissed off. He asked Gargano, what was that? These guys took our spots and our titles. So why don't you go find the Guns and tell them we'll take those titles back when it's our time. So, nice little interaction with DIY and the Guns. And it looks like we're starting to see more of the heel Tommaso Ciampa we saw in NXT, which is the best Tommaso Ciampa. So, next up, as that's finishing up, Randy Orton passes them by. We see him go right out to the ring, grab a microphone, and saying, Kevin Owens, Crown Jewel was only the beginning. I want you out here now so you can get the butt kicking you deserve. Kevin Owens comes out, no music. He's being held back by officials. He starts to turn around, turns back around, pushes a referee out of the way, gets in the ring, and they just start brawling. Like, this is a fight. This feels personal, and I love it. Officials come in, eventually break it up. Owens and Orton then fight through them. Owens does something to an official. I didn't really catch what he did. Maybe he just tossed him out of the way. Low blow to Orton, and then a straight pile driver to Randy Orton. You see Randy Orton selling it like he just got, like his throat just got cut. So officials are checking on Randy Orton. He's saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Which is just super good. Officials bring down a stretcher, and they stretcher Randy Orton to a waiting ambulance, and then Orton just Owens disappears through the crowd. So then, next we see backstage, Orton is being loaded onto the ambulance. Who's there joining him? It's Cody Rhodes, in which I'm thinking, why are you showing up so late? So I think eventually, either at Survivor Series, or we're going to see it at like Saturday night's main event or something, we're going to see Owens versus Cody again. And who knows, maybe Kevin Owens wins this time. Then we get this interesting little match, as it's Pretty Deadly taking on DIY. And, you know, Ciampa pretty much does everything himself. He takes out both members of Pretty Deadly on his own. Hits the fairy tale ending to pick up the win. And Gargano does celebrate with him, but it's more like a, what the f was that? Because he never tags Gargano in. So, yeah, we're definitely looking at a heel turn for Ciampa, which, honestly, I do dig. And, yeah, maybe we'll get a continuation of the Gargano-Ciampa feud from NXT, which was awesome. So then we see Roman Reigns in the back. He's sitting in the the original Bloodline locker room. And at whatever point, I expected Paul Heyman to show up. Because apparently he was in Buffalo. Which is where SmackDown was. So I expected him in either that segment there, or a one a little bit later on in the night. But maybe they're saving him from something. We then see Candice LeRae. She's walking around in the back, in which Tiffany Stratton walks in saying, obviously you beating Bayley a few weeks was an absolute fluke. Candice LeRae turns to her and says, well, at least I didn't lose to Naomi. They start bickering for a little bit. Nia Jax walks in and says to Tiffany, did you go to Nick Aldis to make this match so you would soften me up for a cash-in? Then Tiffany's like, no, of course not. I made this match so when we win tonight, we could get a future tag team title shot and run this division. Then Candice LeRae chimes in and says, sounds like you're planned for Crown Jewel. She walks off. Nia then says to her, alright, come on. Your plan better work. So, it does look like we're going to see more Candice LeRae joining in with Nia Jax in her Royal Guard, I'm going to call them. And maybe a Tiffany Stratton face turn, which I could be good with that. So now we got in non-title action, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair taking on Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. And I'm going to say this. Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill worked really, really well together. It's the power dynamic versus the speed dynamic, which really works. And I'm going to say this also. Bianca Belair and Nia Jax worked really well together. Jade definitely needs to work with Nia Jax a little bit more. Like, it wasn't horrible, but it needs something. Although, something impressive that Nia and Tiffany pulled off was a Samoan drop blockbuster combination, which was awesome. Only got a 2 count. Jade and Nia trading strikes. Jade eventually gets a spear on Tiffany. Then Nia distracts the referee long enough for Candice LeRae to come in, toss Bianca Belair off the top rope. But in comes Naomi, who just absolutely destroys Candice LeRae. Then Nia eventually takes out Naomi. Jade takes out Nia ringside, with Jade hitting Tiffany Stratton with the KOD to pick up the win for her team. And yeah, I'm going to say this. That was maybe not the most dynamic match these four ever had, but it was pretty darn good. So now, we got A-Town Down Under. That's Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They're walking in the back. I thought we were going to get the Grayson Waller effect, but it was announced that got canceled by Nick Aldis because he said, oh, these usually end up leading to matches anyway. Gonna cut out the middleman. So instead of Grayson Waller effect, we go right into the tag team match playa as A-Town Down Under take on the Motor City Machine Guns. And honestly, this is a really, really fun matchup. The dynamic between these four worked really, really well. A lot of missed opportunities by A-Town Down Under to do tag team maneuvers, but eventually the superior tag team got it down with a block of the A-Town Down Under. A couple of kicks and then a Skull and Bones to finish it off for a win for the Motor City Machine Guns. It is still crazy to me that not only are the Motor City Machine Guns in the WWE, I'm a massive TNA nerd. I've been watching this team for years. But not only that, but they're the tag team champions. Blows my mind. It's crazy. So, anyway, we get another segment with Roman Reigns in the OG Bloodline locker room. And he's just kind of rubbing his hands. He's getting ready for this segment. Then we see another Crown Jewel recap. I think this time it was the men's Crown Jewel match? Or maybe it was more of a highlight reel. I'm not really 100% sure. So then we see the Motor City Machine Guns. They're in the back. DIY walks up with Ciampa taking the lead saying, I hope you're enjoying our titles because we're... Then off screen we hear, we're next. And the Street Profits walk up. He says... And they say, Montez Ford says, look, we went to Nick Aldis and we got it made official. We got a title match next week ready to go against the Guns. So Ciampa leaves in a bit of a fury. Johnny Gargano's right behind him. Then Shelley turns to the Street Profits, says, That's fine. We want to face the best WWE has to offer. Then Angelo Dawkins coming with the fire saying, let's see how you handle real pressure. Ooh! Them's fighting words. Like, that match is going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. Then we see Nick Aldis in a pre-recorded promo. He reveals that the women are getting a mid-card title, aka the Women's United States title, which definitely well deserved. And I'm definitely happy about it. I do wish the design was a bit more unique, other than, men's title design, white strap. That just does nothing for me. So then, I guess the Guns were the main event match. So now we go to our main event segment, which is the Undisputed Tribal Chief Acknowledgement Ceremony. Yes, it's a little bit of a tongue twister, but we got the New Blood, so that's Solo, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu. They start in the back. Jacob Fatu places the Ula Fala around Solo's neck. They head right to the ring. They all get in the ring. And then Solo says, there's only one way to start this thing off. Buffalo, acknowledge me. Gets a just big swell of boos. Then out comes, to interrupt, Roman Reigns. Then you see Solo. He's holding back the New Blood. Solo says, it's good to see you, cousin. And there's something I need you to do. I need you to acknowledge me as tribal chief. So then Roman says, Buffalo, do you acknowledge him? Boo. Neither do I. Then Solo. Nope. Not Solo. Roman continues, I won't ever acknowledge you. The only reason I'm out here is to challenge you one-on-one. The winner is the one and only tribal chief. Solo scoffs at him, picks up the microphone, says, I don't need to fight you. I'm already the tribal chief. And everyone here has already acknowledged me. And you can't be a chief without a tribe. So instead of you challenging me, I have a challenge for you. To go find 4 other guys for you to team up with, and we can go to war. Because we in the New Blood are always ready for war. Roman kind of smiles a little bit, says, you talking war games? And I only see 4 of you. So Solo replies, it's going to be me, it's going to be Jacob, it's going to be Tama Tonga, it's going to be Tonga Loa, and our 5th man is my very best friend, Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn comes out, he stands at the top of the ramp. Roman looks back at him and is like, what the heck? So New Blood take advantage of Roman, take advantage of the numbers. Out come the Usos, they brawl with the New Blood, but the numbers are too much. Solo then has Roman by the neck, ready to deliver a Samoan spike. Then he turns to the ramp. Sami, come in here and kick him. So Sami, a little bit reluctantly, goes down the ring, gets in. He's ready to hit a haluva kick. Solo egging him on. And he delivers a big old haluva kick to Solo. And that was a big old moment. Superman punch and another haluva kick to Jacob Fatu. Roman with a spear to Solo, who apparently got back in. So you see the OG Bloodline, they're sharing a ring. They're kind of looking at each other. You see the Usos put up their ones. You see Sami Zayn, who isn't looking at the crowd or the camera. He's looking at Roman. Puts up the one. So Roman, he's a little reluctant at first. He eventually joins in. So, what this means now is at Survivor Series War Games, which is at the end of this month, we're getting New Bloodline versus OG Bloodline. Here's the thing, though. Solo mentioned him finding 4 other guys. So we've got a 5th spot open for each team. So I'm going to give a little prediction on that. New Blood going to take in Hikuleo, who is Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's bigger brother. And that's saying a lot. WWE also just signed Lance Anoa'i, who is former MLW Tag Team Champion with... Was it with Juicy? Yeah, it was with Juicy for now, with Jacob Fatu as their leader. So, there is a little history there. Or maybe they go in a completely different direction. OG Bloodline picks Cody. Maybe New Blood picks Kevin Owens. I don't know. I think we'll see once we get a little closer to Survivor Series. Honestly, this was a big step up for SmackDown. They needed a show like this. We finally got some good stuff in motion. And I can't wait to see more. So, that was SmackDown. We now move on to AEW Rampage, baby. We start off with a little women's action as Hikaru Shida, who they've said has been traveling back and forth to Japan, taking on Viva Vane, who has been a bit of a regular on Ring of Honor. And this match was very, very entertaining. Vane countering most of what Hikaru Shida had. But Shida eventually hits the Falcon Arrow to pick up the victory. So, glad Shida gets a big win. Gets a win on Rampage. Hopefully we got something more from her coming along. Then we go backstage for a Harley Cameron interview. And honestly, these are some of the best promos ever. Where she pretty much says, look, Harley, I've had quite a year. I've made some calculated plans that not always work out. She then goes through her entire year with AEW. And yes, to say I've had a rough year is an understatement. And what does the future? Then the interviewer stops her and says, look, we're running out of time. We don't have time for all of this. And then Harley just wraps it up, says, you're going to feel the wrath of Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron is just such an underrated delight. Like, if you don't watch Rampage and miss out on these promos, do yourself a favor and tune in next time. Because she's just the right amount of crazy. Next up, we got a triple threat tag team match playa. We got Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order taking on, God, what's their names? Charlie Bravo and Sean Dean of the Infantry, aka Shane Taylor Promotions. And then you got Matt Taven and Mike Bennett of the Kingdom. And this match was pretty much all chaos, but it was just the right amount of chaos. I loved every single absolute moment from here. You got some interference from the rest of Shane Taylor Promotions, but eventually that gets taken to the side. Kingdom take control, hit a pop-up elbow, along with a powerbomb leg sweep combination, which was very, very interesting, to pick up the win. I do hope we see the Kingdom make it to the next level sometime soon, because I think they could be awesome, interesting tag team champions, like they were in Ring of Honor, like they were in Impact. I think they're really underrated and need a bit more of a push. Now, as the Kingdom are celebrating, out comes Brian Cage and Lance Archer, with Cage coming out on the ramp and Archer attacking the Kingdom from behind. Cage joins in. Lance Archer hits a blackout on Taven. Then they get in the ring and hit the chokeslam powerbomb combination on Bennett. And oof. Yeah, that's a strong tag team right there. I'd like to see them do something too. Because these two are two super underrated members of AEW's roster. And this could be something coming up. We then go backstage for an interview with Roderick Strong, the new, I guess, second in command of the Undisputed Kingdom, where he says, MJF, I'm not surprised you sent Callis to do your dirty work. Then Jake Roberts comes in. He says, I'm not here to talk to you about MJF. I'm here to talk to you about Mortis. He's LFI. And if you mess things up and you can't back yourself up, I'll have the Beast do it. Roddy then stupidly says, look, I obviously need another win to get me to full gear. Why don't we do this on Collision? Jake then says, alright, bud, it's your funeral. We then get an interesting vignette of Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie, kind of like acting like secret agents. Like they're outside this cafe, they're kind of sipping tea, they're going over their mission. It's interesting. Speaking of interesting, we got this very interesting tag team match as it's Top Flight, that's Darius and Dante Martin, taking on JD Drake and Beef. And yes, there is a guy called Beef in pro wrestling, and it's glorious. So this is the usual, little guy versus big guys dynamic, and it works pretty much to perfection. Like these four do have some really good chemistry, although Drake, I'm going to say this about JD Drake. Something does feel a little bit off with him, but I'm just going to give it to maybe a little ring rust. Really, really good back and forth. Beef goes for the Kentucky Meat Shower, which is a great name for a finisher. That gets countered. Spinning DDT. And Top Flight in with a tag team finisher, a DDT leg drip combination, and with your winners being Top Flight. And then post-match, you see each team shaking each other's hand. Whose music then hits? It's Leo Rush's. So he comes out, does his entrance, get back from the commercial, and out comes his opponent, Commander, his opponent from last week. Now, I'm going to say this. This match between them definitely wasn't as good as their first one, but it was definitely serviceable. Not a ton of repeat spots. Although Lio Rush did get his knees up after an attempt at the rope walk shooting star press. Lio Rush with a intense looking blue thunder bomb, only for a 2 count. Lio Rush misses on a frog splash. Commander goes for a suplex, a moonsault, only gets a 2. Then he goes again for the rope walk shooting star. And Lio Rush moves out of the way. Goes for a counter. That gets countered into a roll-up position, only for a 2. Lio Rush with a Rana, a cutter, and then a frog splash to pick up the win. I hope this gets made into a best of 3 because while that one was good, the first one was like way better. So I'm going to say this with a very serious face. If you're not checking out at least a couple of Rampages here and there, you're definitely missing some stuff because they do good work on this show. And I'd hate for you guys to miss out. So, that is it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Friday will obviously be covering Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. Regularly scheduled program. Maybe go through some results of some wrestling shows that have come previous. So, until then, happy wrestling, everybody. I hope you have a good evening. Peace.